Innervibe show on Essence Radio. This is Yaz Alexander. That's all.
Yes, good evening and welcome to another edition of the Innervibe show on Essence Radio. Joining us today, well, we have our co-host first and foremost, Rosalind Blue.
Hiya.
And joining us on the show, in a few minutes' time, we have Raven Caliana. Would I say hi, Raven?
Hello.
Okay. We'll explain more about, well, Rosalind, if you'd like to explain more about what Raven does.
Raven Caliana. I think I'm going to let Raven explain herself, but...
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Raven.
Yesterday I just presented my film Hooray for Hollywood at the International Women's Day event here in Leicester. And Hooray for Hollywood is about the child sexual exploitation and human trafficking. And it is an autobiographical story which I wrote based on things which happened to me when I was growing up. And the work that I do now is I make puppets, and I direct puppet theater and create puppet films, and I do a lot of activism work using these puppet films and puppet theater to create more awareness surrounding these issues, because I believe that more discussion will help change things for the better.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Yeah, we actually caught myself and Brother Haru met you at the event dealing with child sexual exploitation in London.
Yes.
So, we run a campaign, www.scam.com, where we deal with the sexualization of children and objectification of women in the mainstream media. So it's definitely like it all connects really if you really think about it. So
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, so welcome to Raven.
Yes.
We'll be coming back to Raven shortly. Raven herself was at the event yesterday at International Women's Day event we celebrated at the Highfield Centre here in Leicester. It was quite a success really, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did you enjoy it, Raven?
I did very, very much.
Okay, to be honest, it's all a blur to me. So I can't really remember much.
Okay.
Well, you guys were both working very hard, but it was brilliant. There was just so much heartfelt talent and joy and spirit in the room. It was just really inspiring.
And it's very diverse, wasn't it? And so many different cultures coming together.
Yes, vibrant, really beautiful.
Really nice.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you all for attending yesterday, who attended and who was there in spirit, of course, if you was out of Leicester.
And all those who tuned in on Essence Radio to watch it because they couldn't make it. So
maybe the camera angles were a bit.
I'm sorry. Probably saw us running back and forth.
Well, before we proceed and speak with Raven, there's a few news bulletins, news items which we'd like to read out at the beginning of the show. There's some strange ones again. There's always some strange ones, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay, I picked out one. There's House of Filth. 3 parents charged with neglect after 5 children found living in home that was packed with trash and stunk of urine.
That's not good.
Unbelievable. Dear. And 5 children under the age of 3 are killed in Kentucky sleepover fire alongside pregnant young mother and fiance who proposed to her just a week ago.
Wow.
Dear.
That is wow.
A British engineer died, 24-year-old, electrocuted in a hotel shower in Africa.
Oh my goodness.
Crikey. This is lots of doom and gloom.
I'm just going to say.
Yeah, wow.
Well, actually, I think this is quite doom and gloom. What's this? Adorable sloth received some hair and makeup pampering on the set of today's show.
That's disturbing.
That's not really good to the sloth.
Wow.
Okay. I just saw adorable and thought maybe that's not so doom and gloom, but that's kind of mean.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Oh dear.
Wow. The top earning models you've never heard of how posing for online retailers can rake in £20,000 a week.
Wow.
No wonder so many young girls are aspiring to become
Yeah.
their role models.
Quick money, isn't it?
I mean, so they can, And there's a lot of that going on, isn't there?
Yeah, of course.
A lot of posing on the streets. So we're gonna go for another break. We like to
Stretch our legs.
play our music.
Yeah.
Do our thing, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to go to a quick break. What shall we play?
Lord, help me. Lord, help me. Lord, help me. Lord, help me. Yo, first of all, I haven't talked to you in a long time. I know you told me there was never a wrong time, but somewhere along the way, I stopped taking time out to pray. But I realized my family was saying prayers for me. I gotta say thanks for them, they cared for me. There's some folks out there struggling with no support system. I know that it's rough for them. Somebody just got laid off out of the blue. The house note ain't paid off, the rent's due. And there's children somewhere that's been through abuse, either physical or mental. There's so many issues, it's hard to get a clear view. I hope when they listen to me, they hear you at least a little bit. Cause sometimes all you need is a little inspiration to proceed through.
Lord, help me to help those less fortunate, hoping to stay healthy, sticking with family closer than Velcro. It's been a long road full of lost souls who lost hope. A lot of folk got duped by the okie doke. Nobody's perfect, nope, not even the Pope. My parents working to stay away from broke still. When for real, they should be retired from twerking at 9 to 5 to provide for 3 children. I'm feeling I gotta give something back still. Nice house in the hills. Till then, I ain't never gonna chill. On the streets, a whole lot of blood spills over beef that's usually about $1 bill, but it's bullshit perpetrated, no love. Some of us is calling it self-hatred, and honestly that's what it is. From the grown folks to the little kids, Lord please help us to handle our biz. If you can see all things, then I don't even have to speak. Please, by all means, I've been amongst thieves, and I've stole. I've fallen enough for 10 men tenfold. How can I blame those that took the same road, had similar goals? If you curse them, curse me, I suppose. If you will help them, help me from the cold. Heaven help us all to confuse the lost, the wars, the waters we've crossed, and everything across the board is yours, Lord. If not for your mercy, I realized there would be worse things than I'm worthy. You heard me when not another soul took time to look under the clothes, look past my past, took time to give a little time, and still I need a little more time, please. Please.
Right, we're back on the show. So let's get this started then.
Well, first, really, we run a campaign ourselves, don't we? On the sexualisation of children in the media and the objectification of women in the media, and one of the reasons why we've got Raven on the show this evening is to go a bit deeper into what is really going on behind the scenes of certain individuals. I mean, we're not going to name any names this evening on who's doing what and where they're doing it, but I mean, just to give people some knowledge and some awareness of what is really going on in the world. You know what I mean? You'll see someone walking down the street, you won't know what that person's been through. You know what I mean? And that person could be acting in an irrational manner, and because of things which has happened in his or her past, and you know, and these are things that we don't consider really. You know what I mean? And in life, it's all been orchestrated from a programming, and this is what people have to try and understand. So it's good to have awareness of what is really going on, so we can make change for the better in our world. So negative things like sexual abuse don't occur, you know, or because it doesn't happen to individuals, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen to other people. Yourself as an individual, I mean, doesn't mean that it's not happening to other people. So, and we have to try and eradicate this, and it's one of the reasons we've got Raven on the show to spread awareness really of what has happened in her life. And if you could share, I mean, from the beginning, because we know that you're and well, do they call it an expat? They call it expats. Like, you're from America. You're born and raised in America, and you came over into England after a series of issues happened with yourself. So, I mean, if you'd like to start more like from the beginning sort of thing, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Then we can
Whatever you want to share, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, in my family, the abuse was generational, and I always want to let people know this, because I don't think that abuse comes out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. I think that it comes from how people are raised, and what sorts of trauma that they've been through, and then how they deal with the effects of that damage. And in my family, all kind of the abuse was handed down through the generations. And my family was also involved with a lot of organized crime. And again, it was they had grown up in this network. So I think that they just didn't know any different, or they didn't. That was normal to them, sadly. But what the effect was on me is that I was sold rented out to child pornographers from a very, very, very young age. One of the first times I remember being taken from my home to a different city to be used in pornography was I was 4, and it just continued and actually escalated throughout the time I was growing up, and I didn't really get away from that criminal network until I was a very young adult, after I'd gone to university. And the way it worked in my family is that there were sort of 2 layers of reality. There was the sort of appearances and sort of what I was sort of aware of on a daily basis, and was there was abuse in our home that happened every day, but it was not quite as shocking, or not quite as extreme as as the other stuff. It was sort of more, unhealthy stuff, some alcoholism, a bit. My mother's addicted to prescription drugs, and there was, molestation, but it was all sort of like normalized, and that was sort of what I was able to keep hold of in my mind, and go to school and pretend that everything was fine. And actually, I thought everything was kind of okay, but then there was this whole other layer of activity that was going on in my family and actually in my neighborhood as well. And that was that a lot of the neighborhood children were being used in this child sex ring and being trafficked, being used in pornography. It was quite a dire situation. Some children died, some children disappeared. People that I grew up with, a good friend of mine was murdered. Very, very distressing, very, very distressing things happened. And these are the things that I was blocking out. And what I think happens in response to extreme trauma that you cannot get away from as a child, you begin to put up a dissociative barrier against these things, and because you have to pretend that everything is okay in order to continue functioning, in order to try to get by in the world, in order to try to continue developing socially. You have to pretend that these terrible, terrible things are not happening. And I believe that is what happened with my parents as well. I've only heard bits and pieces of their own stories, but they're pretty horrifying things. And I believe that they had dissociative barriers that they never really broke through, because they didn't ever have either didn't seek out support, or were never able to
they never had an
heal.
outlet.
Sorry?
They never had an outlet, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is they did go to counseling and things like that, but they never broke through to the actual truth of what was actually happening in their lives. So bizarrely, they were asking themselves questions. Our bookshelves were lined with self-help books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I think at one point my father went to Alcoholics Anonymous because there was some literature from them.
Wow.
But they never broke through to really deal with what was actually going on in their own lives, and it was a bit of a funny thing where they really did have a split reality.
Okay. So what was the history? Throughout the generations. I mean, do you know where it actually came from? Is there a root to it all?
All I know is just little bits and pieces of my parents' stories. I think my father, I think that his family used to joke about it because, again, I think just denial. But they, openly admitted that he was used in medical experiments that they were paid for. And that was in like the 1940s and 1950s.
Wow. Okay.
Where was that?
It was in America, but in the sort of or one of the central states.
Okay, in one of the institutions.
It was through university.
Was it Sanford? Was it?
No.
No. Okay. That's fine. No problem. Okay. Do you know of any connections to do with any? Was it on a ritualistic basis? Or, at all?
There was a whole mix of different things that were happening. A lot of us just seemed like it was just transactions, just money. So it's like the sort of the acceptance that you can exploit your children. So I think maybe even came from farming. A lot of people kind of throughout the ages, had lots of children to work their farms. Etc., etc. But so maybe it was that sort of mentality that children are your property rather than human beings with human rights. that deserve safety, because I think that's actually a relatively new idea.
Yeah. A question I want to ask as well is, like, did anyone ever try to tell the police or anything?
Well, I mean, there was lots of, there were a few reports, maybe our neighbors, maybe teachers that reported my parents or reported that they were worried about me or my brother when I was growing up, just a few times. I think that we exhibited a lot of symptoms of post-traumatic stress, for instance, the flinching, and just, you could see, it probably wasn't very difficult to see our injuries because there was like bruises both on my brother and myself. So it probably was fairly obvious that we were being abused to anyone who had any kind of awareness of that. But that was in the 1970s and 1980s, so these things were just beginning to be talked about. So I think, part of the work that I do is trying to raise awareness, because I want more people to be aware of these signs and symptoms, and to be willing to step in, because the children are the people least able to protect themselves in these situations, and they're going to be the most overwhelmed. So we can't really put it upon the children to, like, if only you just say no to strangers or whatever, because most often it's a family member or someone that's trusted by the family or someone trusted in the community.
So what sort of people were purchasing you? That's horrible. I mean,
well, I mean, my family, again, because they were connected with this whole huge network, that was, it was just a massive criminal network. And so, I mean, I never really met the people who were actually, consuming the child pornography. And I just never... and the people who were kind of more involved in the just child rape stuff that were in my neighborhood were just my neighbors. So,
so it was in your neighbors were actually involved in this as well?
Yes.
And were quite a lot of people in your community
yes, involved? A lot of people in my community were involved.
So would you say people in like higher, like sort of like higher powers, I don't like to use that word, but authority, high positions, that's it, were they involved too?
For instance, one time my father, one time when I was a teenager, my father, I think he was trying to silence me or kind of just threaten me in some way. But basically, he showed me a stack of envelopes that he had that were full of black and white photographs of men in sexually abusive situations with small children, and each one of these envelopes had a name on it, and the names were of I mean, a lot of them I didn't recognize, but he told me because he wanted me to know. So some of the names were policemen, some of the names were judges, some of the names were just other people involved in local government. So I think that it's just this attitude of we're afraid to talk about that or look at that. So I think that just there's a level of collusion that goes along with this level of crime with, say, for instance, like the Jimmy Savile case. There's, a lot of collusion happened where people saw what was happening but said nothing. And so this is kind of about an invitation, asking people to begin discussing this topic, it's okay, it's time to look at it. And I think this tide is changing. I think that, I see in a lot of media just this burst of information and reportage of, for instance, trafficking. It's become quite a kind of hot topic lately. But it's good it's good. And the thing about, you know, Jimmy Savile cases as well, it's like very good thing for children that these things are beginning to be talked about.
Yeah.
Because what happens is when you read these things, you get angry, and then you think, that's not okay. I don't want to live in a world like that. Why is this happening?
Yeah.
But then that is the root and spark of change. So I think it's just a matter of keeping it going, and then building on, like, so what are the practical things we're going to do to address it?
Yeah. So through all of this, how did you manage to escape it?
It was quite a long process to escape, again, because I had a sort of split awareness of what was happening to me when I was a child. It took quite a long time to get enough information about that very, very dark, the very, very dark crimes that I was being subjected to, for those things to start to come through the cracks enough that I was able to understand that I was in mortal danger, and that it was actually my parents that were the ones putting me into that danger. So in order to live, I had to remove myself from that situation. I had to get away, even though I did very much love my parents so much, and I felt quite loyal to them. And yet the only way that I could survive was to get away from them.
So your parents were part of this ring as well of criminals, yeah?
Of course.
So if they, I mean, did you know at any point if they wanted to remove themselves from this criminal organisation?
Well, I think again because they didn't really have any perspective on like a different way of living. This was what they grew up with. This was the only thing that they'd known their whole lives. And it's a bit hard to get out of a situation like that when that person has perpetrated. It's very difficult to go backwards because there's going to be prosecution. And so there's no, you know, there's no support and there's no mercy for any of that. So I mean, there was a point at which my parents divorced, and then there was a huge sort of explosion of paranoia on both sides because they were both afraid that, you know, one was going to turn the other in, and but then also that was sort of an opportunity also for them to get away, and neither took that opportunity. They both decided that it was easier for them to continue perpetrating than to leave that group.
Okay. Wow.
Right. Okay. We've got quite a few people who want to ask you some questions. Actually, what we'll do, we'll take a break. Shall we? You want a drink anyway, so and stretch our feet in that. And then we can get a couple more people in to discuss.
Sounds good.
Ask you some questions if you don't mind. So we'll go for a short break. As you know, guys, we've got Raven Caliano with us. I mean, she's a remarkable woman as to what she's been through in her life, and I think people who have been through things can, you know, learn from this young lady who's been through quite a lot herself. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, look what she's doing now today, and giving back to people and spreading awareness. And we have to recognise people like this in the communities. But yeah, I'm just moved by the whole story yet again, because we heard the story a few months ago. And it really touched us, and that's why we really wanted you here for International Women's Day yesterday. I know we was going to go for a break. Right, okay, we'll go for a break, and then we'll
come back for you.
Jason Balls, aka AJ Ball, number 82, you know, Columbus, Jersey connection, we go.
There was pleasure and pain, but all that remains is the bad and the sad, 'cause there's so much we had. Besides all the tears that just washed away years, I long for the days. It comes but it never stays. I hold on to memories, but I try to hold on to you. I wanna hold on to you. Try to hold on to you. Baby girl, just you. Yes, just you. Don't know where we went wrong. Was good when we started, then things got retarded and left us broken hearted. And did we carry on too long? Since we started as lovers, so good under covers, girl. Did we keep love above us, girl? Now even when you're near, I keep feeling resistance like your heart is a distance away. When we couldn't stand to stay away too long. These embraces provided, how I hate how we hide it now. I sit here and desire it now, more and more. There was pleasure and pain. All that remains is the bad and the sad. Cause there's so much we had. Besides all the tears, we just washed away years. I long for the days. It comes but it never stays. I hold on to memories, but I try to hold on to you. I wanna hold on to you. Try to hold on to you. Baby girl, just you. Yes, just you. Can we give it one more try? Revisit the moments when your thoughts were the warmest. So if I had it back, I would hold you so dear to me. Yeah. Dear to me. Realize I was lacking all the time and respect it is so essential to have this here. So let's place these memories away. Let's work on the future, take a piece that will suit your needs. Every step is a move to please. Oh, I just really wanna love you the right way. Give you all that you're asking. Pass me the past and just enjoy what you're having. There was pleasure and pain. All that remains is the bad and the sad. Cause there's so much we had. Besides all the tears, we just washed away years. I long for the days. It comes but it never stays. I hold on to memories, but I try to hold on to you. I wanna hold on to you. Try to hold on to you. Baby girl, just you. Yes, just you. The words that you heard. It was so special. That's why I'll be focused if we try things again first. And foremost, you are my best friend, and I am for real. No need to pretend. Let's be careful. So careful. There was pleasure and pain. All that remains is the bad and the sad. Cause there's so much we had. Besides all the tears, we just washed away years. I long for the days. It comes but it never stays. I hold on to memories, but I try to hold on to you. I wanna hold on to you. Try to hold on to you. Baby girl, just you. Yes, that's just you.
Yes, welcome back.
Yes, people, we're back.
Yeah.
And we're joining us, if you just tuned in, we have Raven Kalyana in with us, and we're discussing child sexual exploitation, human trafficking, and also Raven's animation Hooray for Hollywood eventually later on in the show. But I think we have some callers who want to join in, so we'll call them in now. Hello.
Hello, hiya.
Greetings. Okay.
Hello.
Maybe not then. But anyway, whilst we're trying to sort that out, Raven. So again, so from when you escaped, what was the first thing you had to learn? So you had to sort of figure out what was wrong, sort of thing. And then what was the first thing that sort of triggered you to sort of get away from it all?
I mean, the thing that triggered
Okay.
The thing that triggered, I guess that triggered the necessity to heal was basically being in mortal danger. That I was sort of slated to be used in a snuff film, which means that the victim actually is murdered in the film, and it's caught on film, and then that's what the consumers are getting off on, is watching another human being die on film. And so usually it's some like incredibly brutal death that is would be very difficult to recreate with special effects. So it's really quite awful. Yes. Yeah. And it was again my family that who arranged for this, and so it was very disturbing to me. I managed to escape that particular situation, sort of while it was happening, while I was in the studio where that was about to happen, and after I was returned home, it took a while, but I was returned back home again. Basically, as my father was very upset that I was still alive.
Okay.
Because it meant that he didn't make the money that he thought he was going to make, and it also meant that he suddenly owed the mafia a lot of money because they lost their investment. And so it was quite a terrible time for me to be like suddenly scapegoated, and also my father was very angry with me and kept on seeking out someone else to commission a snuff film of my death. So he became quite dedicated to that idea, and so basically I was just in incredible amount of danger.
Yeah.
And I think that it was just that I needed to understand what was happening to me.
Will your bookie give you value this Cheltenham? Well, let's have a look, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I needed to understand what was happening in my life, or else I was going to die. And so like my denial became less important than my survival. And so my denial about what was happening, even though that used to be my survival, it used to be what kept me going, was like, oh, everything's okay, in spite of the chaos and danger I was in. Suddenly that danger overcame that need for mental comfort.
Yeah.
So I had to experience how much danger I was in. I had to understand how much danger I was in. So it just started bubbling up. And I was very overwhelmed. It was just quite a chaotic, terrifying time, because I started to understand what was happening, and that my family was not a normal family, and that I was, if I didn't deal with the fact that they were the source of the danger, that I was going to die. Yeah. And so I started. Something good happened. There was a teacher at my school that reached out to me, and she was very, very kind to me. Basically, I had lost a tremendous amount of weight. I was just quite skeletal, and she started worrying about me because she called me in after school one day and asked if I was anorexic, and I just laughed because I said, "Oh, wow! If I had food, I would eat it." And then I had to explain that my mother was starving me, and that actually I had no access to food except what friends at school who were able to share a few of their chips at lunch or something. And it was just basically this physical thing that my teacher noticed, and decided just to reach out, just to be a human being, and just ask me what was wrong. And so many people in my life never even asked me, what was wrong, even though so often when a child is severely abused like that, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So just by asking, she opened a door and was willing to really be there for me. And she told me that I could come in after school whenever I wanted and just talk to her. And mainly she just listened, and mainly she just listened to me. She didn't try to steer me in any particular direction or anything, but she was very concerned about me, and she just cared. And unlike many other adults in my life at that point, that was something that made a bridge back to a world that I'd actually never experienced, a world of where people are treated with care, and where I could actually experience safety, physical safety and an emotional safety, were things that I'd never had in my whole life. So just getting this glimpse of this through this other human being, it was a bridge. And as I continued to talk with her, just getting it out of my head helped me put things together, so that I began to get a greater understanding of what was happening to me, because I was hearing myself say these things. And it was terrifying, because in a way she was validating me, she was listening, and so that these things that I was so afraid of was like, no, well, you should be afraid, because that's really frightening. And yet at the same time, she told me, once she started getting an understanding what was happening in my life, she told me, tell everyone. And I was like, but people aren't going to believe me, or people are going to attack me, and she said, yeah, that's true. Tell everyone.
Wow.
And so I took her advice, but it was actually like amazing advice that did save my life. Because I did start to tell everyone. I started to tell some of my other teachers, and one of my teachers, after I told him, he listened to me, and he was one of these. I only told my favorite teachers, and so the first teacher I told, he just sort of grinned and laughed like I was telling a good joke the whole entire time I was speaking. And I couldn't get him to understand, no, this is really happening to me. It's like I'm really in danger. So I just felt really baffled by that. And so I told another teacher, and he, again, this is one of my favorite teachers, but he said, oh, I have romantic feelings for my own daughter, and I would like to, wow, if I was 20 years younger, I'd really like to get together with you.
Wow.
And basically he just sexually harassed me when I told him that I was, when I told him I was being sexually abused, and he in turn sexually harassed me. And so then I didn't feel that safe in his classes anymore. But again, it's like I had so little support that this was, still, I didn't try to get out of his classes. And then I told my school counselor, and she when I first started talking with her, she reached for the phone and she said, "Do your parents know you're saying these things about them?" And I said, "Well, they're true. Don't call them. I'm telling you because I need help getting away from them. Don't call them." And so she just kept on threatening to call them during the entire conversation. And I said, "My parents are a danger to me." And finally I got her to settle down and just hear me out. And by the end of the conversation, she was like, she had tears rolling down her face. And she said, you should join a church." And I said, "Well, I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not a religious person. That doesn't really make any sense. Doesn't really make any sense to me." And it's true. If I had been a religious person, that probably would have been a source of safety for me. But I didn't grow up with that, and it just wasn't a part of my reality. So it didn't make sense to me. And anyway, but then what I also started doing is I started making calls to a it was something similar to what the Samaritans do. So it was like a call line. So if you were had some sort of personal crisis, you could call them and talk with them. So I started using that as a form of confidential counseling, and that actually helped me quite a lot, because again, it was just me sort of trying to put things together and just getting validation from an outside source that what my family was doing was not normal or acceptable, or that what they were doing was criminal.
Yeah.
Because again, I just didn't believe myself. I didn't believe in myself. I just didn't have any perspective. So getting that perspective from an outside source was just so valuable. And then there was a point where basically there was a point at which there was a threat of gun crime in my family, and I was really terrified for my own life and for the life of other family members, because this one person in my family was threatening, bought a gun, was waving it around, literally waving it in my face. And anyway, so I called this crisis line, and they told me that I needed to call the police and that they would also, so they wanted me to call the police, tell them of this thing that was about to happen, and that because they had been working with me for a number of months, they had sort of built a case file and there was one particular person that I'd worked with quite a lot, and she said that she would come out and do an intervention with the people who were about to commit this crime involving guns. And it was quite a good thing, because actually all these police descended on the scene, and also this intervention team showed up as well. And so basically, by telling everyone, eventually it did actually help me to safety, because this intervention team basically helped one of my parents to get on more sort of stable ground, got them more support, like more emotional support. And so they became a more stable person. And then the more dangerous person was forbidden to come around. And so anyway, so there was a legal intervention.
What? You said forbidden.
it was a legal intervention.
Right.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but it's basically I just forget the name of it.
Oh, okay.
But it was basically they were legally forbidden to come around.
Right. Okay.
They had to stay away. But that increased.
Who was that?
Increased my safety.
Yeah. Who was that person? Okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So it increased my safety for that person to stay away, and that actually did, both those things did help me get to more stable ground, even though I was, still living with my parents and I was still in danger. But because that situation had been diffused and because it was exposed, all of a sudden, the people who are more likely to do, criminal acts or make me disappear.
So your
We'll put in
parents,
check.
yeah, your parents had no control over this whatsoever. I mean, was it a case of maybe if they was to stop what they were doing, then they could get basically taken out?
Well, I mean, it was organized crime, so they weren't anything. If they got in trouble, they could get the whole group in trouble. So there was that pressure, and so the group did not want to be exposed. So there was like quite a lot of pressure on them to hide their activities and not confess to anything and not be too obvious about what they're doing.
Yeah. Sort of like a brotherhood or
a bit like the mafia, but they weren't called the mafia, but it's similar.
Yeah. But,
similar idea.
Yeah. Okay.
And going on, I mean, from when you finally, after that intervention and everything, you finally got to escape it, or
still a few more years. But what happened was after that the level of my safety went up.
Okay.
A great leap.
Right.
So I had just having a few more hours in my day where I was, not being physically or sexually abused, where I could just recover, like just a few hours a day where I was safe. It made a big difference to me.
So it was a daily thing then?
Yes.
And it started from the age of 4?
Well, the like, for instance, the child pornography and trafficking, that wasn't necessarily a daily thing, but the sexual abuse in my family was a daily thing. Like, horrible.
Yeah.
But like physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, those were daily things. And then the sort of neighborhood organized crime, that was probably weekly. And the more the things in the wider network, like the trafficking and child pornography, that was probably more like once a month, or if it was during the holidays, like during the summer holiday it happened, I would just be sent off and it would just be a continuous thing for a few months.
Wow. Okay.
Until I'd be returned home.
So what age did it? When you finally got out of it, what were your age at the time?
Well, I think I wasn't like completely safe from my family until I was about 21. Yeah, but it was just. It wasn't, and again, it was sort of a gradual thing where things were happening less and less often, because I as a teen, I started resisting and fighting back, not consistently, but when I was, from the time I was about 12, I started being more trouble than I was worth.
Right.
Yeah.
So as a result of what happened, you developed certain behaviours within yourself.
Yeah, I was willing to defend myself, because when I was very small, I was just overwhelmed, and so I would just pretend I was somewhere else. I would just go limp. If I was being attacked, I would just go limp. I would just sort of leave my body. And it was sometime when I was around 12, I started not sort of learning how to not leave my body when I was being attacked.
Okay.
And so just a slow process of, maybe once every 10 times I would not leave or not, I would like, okay, well, maybe this person, maybe I'm angry enough that I will actually fight them.
Right.
But sort of gradually learning to actually stay here. But then that made me less appealing as a victim as well when I'm actually present in my body because
of the resistance.
Well, because exactly, it's like someone who is sexually assaulting, someone who sexually assaults other people is looking for someone who doesn't resist, who already is trained as a victim,
okay,
or is a victim because they're so small that they have no other,
that's all they know,
no other way, they have no defense. So it's just sort of training myself to be present when I was being attacked.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
and then from when you got away from it all, what sort of helped you on your journey to healing?
Well, I mean, the biggest sort of breakthrough for me was I just realizing that I needed to cut off contact with my entire extended family, and that was quite jarring and painful because it's like everyone, but in my case it was everyone. And I mean, there lots of people that I loved my family, even though all these horrible things were happening. I did have, I was quite deeply connected to them. And so it was just like I didn't want to go forward in the world alone. It's just really terrifying. And yet that was the best thing that I've done in my life, was to set that hard boundary with them, so that basically to choose to advocate for my own safety and well-being, and to decide that type of support network was not a support network at all, that was a great danger to me, and that I was now responsible for being my own parent, for creating a new kind of family for myself, a new community for myself that could support me in going forward. And so I did join support groups and got into counseling, and I did something that's called body-mind integration therapy, which is basically someone just someone who she was trained as a massage therapist, but really she just would lay her hand on my back or something, and physical touch used to be so uncomfortable for me, just completely unbearable, because I just associated it with being attacked. And so it was a very long time just actually working with this person before touch was at all tolerable. And but basically just learning that not all touch is bad. In fact, touch is mainly nice, except this person is actually attacking you. And that it's a way of connecting with other people that should be nice, that should be positive, that should be loving. And so it was a lot of work again to try to stay present during kind touch.
And wow. So okay, I mean, if you want to add more to it, definitely add more. But so I want to talk more about your puppeteering.
Okay.
And stuff. So
yes.
What made you go into puppet making then?
Well, I mean, I've always been artistic when I was growing up. I always drew pictures all the time, all over my homework. And sometime in my teen years, I started using art as a way to sort of emotionally process what was happening to me.
Yeah.
And then after my late teens, I started to use it actually more towards healing.
Yeah.
And then when I was in my early 20s, I started actually using my art in activism. Mm-hmm. So actually, exhibiting my paintings with a little statement about what they actually meant to me and how it was autobiographical, what it actually represented to me. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I got involved with a lot of activism work. Mm-hmm. And usually it was like artistic activism, like organizing community events where I would encourage people who had healed from some sort of trauma or illness or grief to come together and exhibit their artwork with a statement next to them, mm-hmm. so that people could make connections.
Yeah.
And after I graduated from university, I randomly got hired at a company that makes hand puppets, and it was just a joy because they became like a new family to me. Mm-hmm. And it was quite a beautiful experience to finally have permission to have fun and to experience joy and to be safe. Nice people around me, supportive people. And then after a while, I realized that puppetry could be a good way of telling my story, and started making like little puppet films, getting involved with little shows that were going on in my community. And then after a while, I realized that I needed to get a bit more serious about it and actually get a degree, like a drama degree, so that I could feel like I had enough understanding of how to bring a production from an idea, through a storyboarding and writing the script and finding the actors and training puppeteers, making the puppets, mm-hmm. Producing the show. So it was quite a good experience. And it was then that I moved to the UK, was to get that degree, okay. And also to begin bringing my story forward publicly, because I feel a bit safer doing it here than back there.
Yeah, of course. You don't have to answer this question, but I know like a lot of people who go through these things. I mean, like I know, well, they it still affects them traumatically, like the nightmares and stuff. Do you still experience those?
I do get nightmares still sometimes. Not very pleasant, because it's no matter how well I've taken care of myself, or nice things I'm doing for myself, or good things in my life, that stuff, the bad stuff is still real. It still happened, and I think there's always going to be sort of leftover stuff. It's too big for one human being. That experience is too much for one person. So I think it's sort of a lifelong job to try and process.
Yeah.
Even though I can have joy,
of course.
Good things in my life.
Doing things like the puppeteering and this sort of work as well is because I find these sort of things, I mean, you can have as much bad stuff happening or happen to you, but it's all about healing. Yeah, and puppets bring me a lot of joy. I work on a lot of other people's productions, and it's really lovely because it's a lot of it just brings me a lot of happiness. Yeah, because I love puppets. Yeah.
Well, we have Zara with us in the studio.
Hello, Zara.
She's almost asking any questions. But first, what we'll do, we'll go for a short break because we have to do a bit of technical work in the break, and I'm sure the ladies want to stretch their legs anyway. So we're just going to go for a short break and then come back and bring Zara into the conversation.
Thank you.
To ask questions.
Yeah. So many people, they want to know my opinion on the whole situation, but
Hey man,
yeah. But I'm just you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm just I wonder, who do you believe in? I know it ain't me. I hope it ain't a priest or who you seen on TV. I hope it ain't your papa, partner, he only raised you. I know it ain't your mom, even though that's who you came through. I'm asking who you pray to. Some believe in angels, some believe in one God, some believe in Jesus, some believe in all of it. Now I mean a part of it ain't true. I know that someone started it, and I know it ain't you. The creator of them blue skies, the great blue sea. I hate me, a cool guy who few relate to, like I'm confused too. What does the Jew do? What does a black man in Iran who's never heard of Jesus choose? And who do you choose? The heart said the youth, the mind said the truth. The blind let the blind head to heaven with a sign saying I choose you, but left you behind like no one can explain it. It's like one religion can't contain it, and I ain't the man that's trying to change it. I just want answers, live, no cameras. Fuck the propaganda. Many so stranded cause they took a book for granted. Some planted seeds to feed the mind, peace over greed. I just keep the truth that I read. World on their knees while the innocence bleeds, and you keep funding wars with money from your source. The shame is all ours, but God, I'm all yours. Save me before the doors close and them horns blown, and I'm alone in my grave thinking maybe I should have prayed more for peace, love, and unity between you and me. No matter who you choose to be, Pop telling me that the Muslims won't make it, and the Muslims telling me my Pop won't make it. Yet they both praise him, night and day raise his name until the day he came back to claim him. Is one gonna save them and another take them? Doubt it. They telling me I shouldn't live without it. Relief for the doubters. It keeps me clouded, confused while I'm doing the knowledge. But my God said choose. I choose you. Who do you choose? I hope it ain't me, cause I'm just the MC. But I'm just a man. But I'm just a man. You know what I'm saying? Amen. Yeah. Said I'm just a man. Said I'm just a man. Yeah. Know what I'm saying? Amen. I wonder, who do you believe in? I know it ain't me. I hope it ain't a priest or who you seen on TV. I hope it ain't your papa, partner, he only raised you. And I know it ain't your mom, even though that's who you came through. I'm asking who you pray to. Some believe in angels, some believe in one God, some believe in Jesus, some believe in all of it. Now I mean a part of it ain't true. I know that someone started it, and I know it ain't you. The creator of them blue skies, the great blue sea. I hate me, a cool guy who few relate to, like I'm confused too. What does the Jew do? What does a black man in Iran who's never heard of Jesus choose? And who do you choose? The heart said the youth, the mind said the truth. The blind let the blind head to heaven with a sign saying I choose you, but left you behind like no one can explain it. It's like one religion can't contain it, and I ain't the man that's trying to change it. I just want answers, live, no cameras. Fuck the propaganda. Many so stranded cause they took a book for granted. Some planted seeds to feed the mind, peace over greed. I just keep the truth that I read. World on their knees while the innocence bleeds, and you keep funding wars with money from your source. The shame is all ours, but God, I'm all yours. Save me before the doors close and them horns blown, and I'm alone in my grave thinking maybe I should have prayed more for peace, love, and unity between you and me. No matter who you choose to be, Pop telling me that the Muslims won't make it, and the Muslims telling me my Pop won't make it. Yet they both praise him, night and day raise his name until the day he came back to claim him. Is one gonna save them and another take them? Doubt it. They telling me I shouldn't live without it. Relief for the doubters, but keeps me clouded, confused while I'm doing the knowledge. But my God said choose. I choose you. Who do you choose? I hope it ain't me, cause I'm just the MC. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, welcome back to the show, people. So with us, for those who've just tuned in, we have Raven Kalyana, who is a puppeteer, puppet maker, and also a victim and survivor of child sexual exploitation and human trafficking. And we've spoken about some serious issues on the show today. Also joining us is Zara. Thank you for joining us again, Zara.
You're welcome.
Just if you have any questions for Raven now, before we start talking about other topics, yeah, go ahead. The mic's yours.
Okay. I just wanted to thank you for coming yesterday. The video, the power that was in it, I couldn't even sit and watch it all. That's how effective it was. And I'm sure a lot of the audience, even feedback afterwards, they thought it was amazing as well. So thank you very much. I didn't get to thank you. I saw a lot of, because obviously you've been through these issues and within your family, you can kind of sense it in the puppets and in the way that the story goes as well. And in the beginning it was like, oh, it's okay, but I didn't realise until, you know, the little girl got up and then she went to it was emotional. I couldn't really watch it. But a question I have, we were going to talk about sorry, we were going to talk about healing, weren't we? So about healing, how have you overcome it, basically?
Well, I've talked a little bit about it on the show. It's just a lot of, basically I did all sorts of things. The biggest thing, the thing that made the biggest difference was setting a boundary of safety with my family, and getting away from them, cutting off contact with them, because they were too dangerous to stay connected with. And then I did a lot of different things like support groups and counseling and body-mind integration, body work. I did some sort of anger work therapies. And also I did a lot of activism. And I also did a lot of art. And I wrote. Basically, I was just trying to get out the things that were inside me. I just wanted to get them out of me safely. So I was just trying to find places in the world to receive those things where it was safe to do that and wasn't going to harm anybody, or, you know, that was part of the agreement. Like, for instance, counseling, you know, you can say whatever you want and that person is listening. And basically it was just a commitment to care for myself and to rebuild my support system, you know, learn how to make healthy friendships and connect with other people who had survived trauma, so that there were some other people in the world who understood how I felt and what I'd been through. And I did a lot of, when I first got away, I was so angry. I was incredibly angry. But what actually helped quite a lot with that was to do some activism work. And basically, this is not okay, let's change it. And so it was quite an empowering thing to organize community events and to put my voice out in the world. Communicate to other people what had happened to me, and what I've done in recent years, since I've lived in the UK. I've made the film Hooray for Hollywood that you saw, and Hooray for Hollywood does tell a piece of my story. And the reason that I made it is to be able to share it with audiences and invite people to speak about this topic, which is, you know, sort of still a bit taboo. People are still quite uncomfortable talking about it, even though it's it's clear that children are getting hurt. You know, all the science really just protects the perpetrators and the crime rings, it doesn't protect the children. So I just want to ask people to step up. If you suspect that a child is being hurt, just call NSPCC. If you yourself have something going on, call Samaritans. There's so many resources out there, but it's really a matter of reaching out. If it's another person, reach out to them, even if it's just asking them, how are you doing? But being willing to actually hear the answer. It's a social commitment, but it's one worth making. Because I know that, I don't want to live in a world that does this to children. And I'm sure that no one in this room, no one who's listening to the show wants to live in a world that allows this. And the only way that we can change it, really, is by beginning to talk about it and discuss what are the dimensions of the problem, what are the causes of the problem, what are some solutions to the problem, how can we prevent it? And it's just wide-reaching, but it's also quite core issues here.
So, Raven, you also, besides the puppeteering and everything, you do a lot of activism, and also you have a group called Outspiral.
Yes.
So you can talk more about what that's about.
Yeah. All right. Outspiral, basically, because over the past few years, I've run a puppet company called Puppet Revolution, and we've produced a couple of plays and a couple of films and some documentary, and basically to take those materials and use them for trainings and awareness raising events. So Outspiral is basically putting those creative pieces to practical use in the world, because I want to stop child abuse.
Yes, as do all of us.
Yes.
Yeah. So, where's Outspiral based then?
London and Brighton.
Okay. Well, do you have a website you can share with everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is outspiral.org.uk, or you could look up Hooray for Hollywood at hoorayforhollywood.co.uk.
Okay, brilliant.
And Hooray for Hollywood is the title of the animation you've done?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I ask, why is it called Hooray for Hollywood?
Because a lot of the abuse that happened to me happened in the Los Angeles area.
Okay.
And Los Angeles, you think of it as the sort of glamorous films, blockbuster films. But actually there's a lot of film equipment, there's a lot of studios, there's a lot of prostitution, there's a lot of pornography, and unfortunately there's also a lot of child pornography that happens right in that area. And I just think there's a lot of overlap, and this sort of goes into your organization as well.
Yeah, of course.
In
terms of like the sexual exploitation and the sexualization in the media, which basically contributes to people actually carrying on the way they're carrying on.
I think that's true.
Yeah,
I think it's true.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of film directors and so forth could be possibly involved in?
Well, some. There were some mainstream media people who were involved in the abuse that I suffered, but I can't really speak for everyone or generalize.
Well, and I actually watched an interview with an actor who was quite famous in the 80s, a child actor. What was in the Goonies?
Oh.
He was in the Goonies. Have you heard that?
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, I don't know his name. I can't remember his name, but he actually starts speaking out about how
Corey Feldman.
Yeah, that's the one.
Corey Feldman.
Yeah. And he speaks out about how in Hollywood there were some people, some men especially, who were carrying out these horrific paedophilic acts on children, himself included. But he couldn't mention the names, but he goes, there was a lot of them in these circles.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, in a sense, like people like yourself, like people get scared because they're such in high positions.
Yeah.
People are scared to speak out, but it's like that's why we ourselves and yourself and people more like us, we need to start speaking out.
Yes, I agree.
And joining together, so that people who have suffered this abuse, especially like the people who are in high positions and getting away with it, can start suffering the consequences of their
to be
disgusting
accountable
acts.
for what they've done, basically.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, it baffles me, to be honest. I mean, how we can just... A lot of people turn a blind eye to this matter. Do you know what I mean? And the sad thing is, it's only when it's really close to home for certain individuals where they then start to take action. We run a preventative campaign, if you like, to spread awareness on these very topics, and that, I mean, we come from the angle from the mainstream media and music because we think, or we know, or have
a good idea
that a lot of the child pornography, child sexualization is going on from this angle as well, and that's why we do what we do, basically.
It basically encourages it in a sense, like in a subtle way. You even see in the media, like the subtle ways of how they not sexualize children from a young age.
Yes.
And then obviously objectify women. That goes into it, definitely. And how it this all affects all of us, men, women and children.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's becoming more and more blatant now in mainstream media. I mean, before it was quite subtle. I mean, talking here, like the UK, for instance, in the movies, like back in the 60s and 70s, they had like the Carry On movies, which were very funny, but sexual in a way, and that kind of programmed a lot of us who were growing up in that time to think and view, especially us as men, to view women and treat women in a certain way. And this is again why we run the campaign, not only to show awareness of the sexualization of children from the media, but also from the perspective of men and how we think, how we feel, and how we have treated and viewed women based on the programming.
Right.
I just got my sister basically just gave me more details about these actors in the 80s, and it was Corey Feldman and Corey Haim, both big in the 80s, and they were friends, but in the end Corey Haim committed suicide.
That's right.
So I mean, there you have it. We have to be strong in this because we don't want more suicides and more murders.
And what we feel is that we feel if we continue supporting, I mean, that's why we don't watch the television or the idiot box, because the more we support watching this, the more we're supporting things like this going on, because I mean we know. Look at Jimmy Savile, and another guy came out the other day, the guy from It's a Knockout, what's his name? Yeah, okay. And a few others who've come out just recently, and you know what I mean, so we know what's going on, that the people in high positions are doing certain things, and you know, I think as the things that we're doing is to spread awareness, and people need to be more aware and really take a deeper look into what is happening out there, and not support them. I mean,
we have like the theorist Freud, who talks about the subconscious, and the subconscious is it's desire, basically. So if children watching TV, they can see this, it's kind of it stays into their subconscious, and it brings them to be, you know, it's normal for me to see this, it's normal. You get a lot of people who just sit and they'll put their children in front of the TV and just get on with work and not realising what harm it can do. Because if it is in the subconscious, it's so impossible for it to come out because it becomes a norm. And with you guys and the work that you do, and even you, it's superb to try and get it, not just for obviously just the youth to watch it, it's even children to trigger it off, to say, do you know what, this is actually happening. So if you can get children to watch these things and realise that, you know what, there are children in other parts of the world, in the Western world, you know, even in the UK, even here in America, things like it does happen. And you get kids who, they don't want to watch things like, you know, when Water Aid comes on for a few seconds, they'll turn the channel. I want to watch cartoons. But there's more harm in watching cartoons than there is in watching, you know, the ads that you see. There's an ad like for NSPCC where I remember there was a child who, because I worked as a fundraiser for many years, and we used to get given sort of like a small paragraph to stop people and to talk to them in the public of what NSPCC do and their job. Some people don't even realise that there's so much support out there in the world. They just need to be made very aware of it. And if they know that there are people like themselves who, you know, I've been through problems when I was younger and I don't want to really talk about it, but if I hadn't have had the support that I got, I would have never been the person that I am. And if you guys make things aware where people realise that, you know, there are other people out there in the world who have gone through these problems and who can come up and, like yourself, you're amazing to come up and do this and to stand strong and to say, do you know what, you're not standing alone. There's people like yourselves who have done, you know, great with everything. They don't need to see that, oh, it's just me, myself, and I deserve this. Because like we were saying the other day, a lot of people go through things and grow older and say, well, I deserve it. And they go into relationships that, you can't come out of it because it's a never-ending cycle. I'll stay in this relationship, I'll be beat up, I'll do this because I deserve it. And it's the whole thing again. If you come back to the subconscious, if in my mind the desire, I need to do this and I need to do that, we need to understand that there's a difference between need and want. I don't need to watch TV. I may want to watch it. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
And the point of it all is, you talked about getting into destructive relationships and so forth, which was discussed on the show previously. There's an ancient African proverb which goes to know thyself, and that is the key in all of this, is to try to get to know thyself. Do you know what I mean? So we can heal ourselves and try to heal others.
But we can only heal ourselves through seeing someone else. That's the only way, because it's impossible to stand in front of a mirror and to point fingers at yourself and to say, this is wrong, you know, this is, I don't deserve this. But if you see someone else and you take it from their angle, you kind of learn more from them than you learn from yourself.
That's right.
A point, like, you actually made a good point there, like, basically about how children need to know, because I'm sure, Raven, when you were growing up, you weren't brought up to know that this was wrong. What was happening to you?
Right. It was normal for me. It was normalized.
So I know, like, in an ideal world, right, children should never ever be exposed to these wrong and disgusting acts. But I think also, saying that, we don't live in an ideal world,
right?
And children, they need to know, and young people and adults, they need to know the difference between right and wrong. And it might be a hard topic, and sometimes this topic is a really taboo topic.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say is just education is key.
Yeah. I think that what happens during trauma is like one of the classic symptoms of post-traumatic stress is a feeling of isolation.
Yes.
And actually, like any type of abusive situation, the person in the abuser position will try to isolate the victim, so keep them from getting help, etc. So they're preying upon those feelings that sort of biologically happen as a result of those feelings of isolation. So I think what happens kind of as a society, I think a lot of times we're quite susceptible to that divide and conquer mentality. So people who have suffered traumas always think, oh, it's only me. It only happened to me. And they personalize it as well. It happened to me because of XXX. You know, there's some reason that the person who harmed them told them. You know, but it's always an excuse. It's not the real thing. And so I think that talking about the problem kind of helps to bridge that isolation. That helps. What I love what you were saying earlier about, you know, that we need each other. That talking about it builds a bridge from heart to heart, so that people can heal together as well as individually. And we do need to heal as a society, not just individually. That this is a social problem that so many people are affected by, and in many different ways. Sometimes just all that's a whole continuum of dysfunction that, you know, maybe starts with insulting words or, you know, in disrespectful words, and, you know, ends in murder, you know. So it's like the whole spectrum of disregard, really.
And it's one of the barriers that we have to deal with is the desensitization. People have become desensitized to not only this issue but other issues as well, and that is one of the barriers which I believe we need to overcome.
No, I agree.
As children always assume, they're taught to respect authority, to respect their parents, because, you know, mummy and daddy love me, and mummy and daddy will never harm me. And as soon as a child, you know, as soon as a mother gives birth to a child and she develops that bond, the child automatically thinks that mummy and daddy will always protect me from everything. And sometimes it's up to the adults to say, do you know what, sometimes kids are right. Sometimes we need to sit and listen to a child speak, because even in schools, a lot of children are bullied, and they go and speak to their teacher about it. Their teachers don't really bother. They're like, no, you know, it's problems at home. A child only screams out when a child is going through a problem that they can't deal with themselves. If a child is fine and, you know, he's normal, you'll see him loving, caring, things like that. Children only isolate themselves when they have a problem, and that problem always has a root. So instead of trying to take the teacher taking a child who's disruptive in class and isolating them, throwing them in the classroom on their own to write notes on the board, you know, I will never be naughty again. You know, ask the child what's wrong instead of pointing a finger at the child. The child needs to be asked, are you okay? Are you fine? Is everything okay at home? A lot of bullies have problems. Bullies only have problems within themselves. That's why people become bullies, not because of they feel they're superior, but because someone's bullied them, and there's something, they're insecure. There's something wrong within themselves. That's the reason why they point their fingers at other people.
And I think the way that teachers, especially because Raven's situation, that they have to be retrained or reprogrammed, if you like, in it to become coming from more of the heart more than in the intellect, isn't it? And I think that's one of the another barrier. Because there's a lot of low emotional intelligence, not just in the teaching industry, but in many industries. You know what I mean?
It's the whole, I need money, therefore I need to go to work, let me lose this emotional connection. I need to leave it at home. You know, we're taught not to, I've had issues with, but we're taught not to be personal with people. The thing is, how am I supposed to help someone who's going through pain if I can't speak to them about my own experience? How? We're taught to leave that at home. Confidentiality, obviously we respect. Consent, obviously we do. But if there's a child that's going through harm and they can learn from you because you yourself have been through harm, the child needs to be told, you know, it's going to be okay in the end, you'll be fine. And like the economy that we live in now, it's rushed. No one has quality time. It's fast paced, and it's all because of the idiot box that we watch, and the whole. Even with music, you get like people idolize Rihanna, they idolize Beyonce, they idolize people. Why am I going to idolize someone who seems to be worshipped as a god? Children go to shops and buy like bras and try and stuff them and wear like revealing clothes and things like that. They sort of, instead of growing at a slower pace, you know, with quality love, it's just rushed. There's no childhood anymore. It saddens me to see that the idiot boxes society nowadays and the way that we live now is really, really, really hard. And if you're raised by nature and around nature, it's a lot easier because the pace is a lot slower.
The more children and society as a whole is becoming sexualized,
Exactly.
the more desensitized they seem to be becoming also at the same time.
Which is good what you're doing, because you're raising issues
Yeah.
through Art Spiral, Hooray for Hollywood.
Through art.
Through art. Because one of our friends actually said that the world is going to be saved by art. Through art.
Yeah.
It was Ben Stewart in one of his latest documentaries, isn't it? Also, but he joined us last year as well. Creator of Esoteric Agenda. I mean, very good documentary. Also Climatica. Check that. He's actually from America himself. He was over here last year doing a tour.
Yeah, and he was saying that basically what we can heal through art.
Yeah.
Like you've done yourself with the puppeteering. So Raven, your film, so how is it available to watch then, Hooray for Hollywood?
Well, I'll be showing it in London on 9th of April at Initiatives of Change.
Okay.
That's the next screening that I have scheduled.
Okay.
You can contact me through my website. Again, it's outspiral.org.uk, or you can contact me through the Hooray for Hollywood website as well. It's hoorayforhollywood.co.uk.
Awesome, thank you.
Awesome, yeah. I didn't actually get to see most of the thing. Obviously, I was busy yesterday, but I would love to try and catch a viewing. Yeah. But Brother Who, anymore?
Well, we have to wrap up very shortly. It's 9:05. The time is actually flew actually.
Yeah. It's been quite. I have to say it was quite an emotional show. Obviously, hearing your story and stuff, but obviously we were saying this off air, like we had to basically talk about the negatives in order to see the positives, because we need a balance. So solutions. Everything has to be solution based now from now on, I think.
Yep.
Definitely. But
yes, I'd like to thank you very much for coming on the show, Raven.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you.
Thank
Honestly,
you for coming to the event yesterday as well and doing your thing.
It was wonderful.
It was we met Raven at the
seminar. Exploitation seminar in London.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah.
October, November, was it?
It was about November time, I think, and it was definitely. We were just thinking we definitely need to talk to you, and because, like yourself, we want to make a change in the world, really.
Yeah.
So it's good, we can make all these connections, isn't it?
Yes. That's right. So join us on the show on Wednesday. We have Soul Guidance, Sister Essence, talking about the divine feminine. As you know, we've just it's Mother's Day today, and how appropriate that it was International Women's Day yesterday as well. And I mean, and this is what the world needs to be more compassionate, to be more loving, and to be more nurturing to each other and to the earth. And that is the mother principle, the female divine principle. I mean, and even us as males have that principle within us, and we need to manifest it more and more. And women themselves need to manifest that principle more and more, because they themselves have become emasculated by,
in a negative sense,
by modern society because of the programming also. So it's something that we all have to take a closer inspection and try our best to come more from our intuition. And that's by slowing down, being still, and just being, and remembering who we are at the essential level.
Definitely. I think we'll go to a short break.
Yeah, we'll go to a short break.
Play some music.
And
then we'll say bye.
I just wanna chill at home and sip my drink out of my plastic cups. Even though my roommate had me mad as fuck. Nigga be acting crackish, fucking up my money, hustling backwards. Financially, I took some hard blows, but shit, I also rocked some hard shows. Niggas came to check us out by the carloads, screaming my name like I scanned 1 million barcodes already. My squad blows till we all sweaty. We struggling to pay our bills, so we really can't ball heavy. And God knows I be calling on them, cause I be writing mad checks that might as well have Spalding on them. The shoulders of my team, I be falling on them, providing support to help the pain go away, and helping me to see the light like Toate standing by me. That's all I really need to satisfy me. This is my peace, yo. Real. Hey yo, it's real easy to see. Don't take much to please a cat like me. That's how we doing it. People, good loving, good music in my life. It makes me happy. Now bring it back. So happy.
It's been nice. I wanted to quit. Broke crying to God. It's kinda hard going far with a lot to carry. Waking up, still tired from sessions. Going to class, dozing off. Waking up, never learning the lessons. But thanks to my faith and blessings, struggles pass and I go about life without half the stressing. I know who got my back, no need for raising the question. Cause when times get hard, it's to my brothers I call. Taking the weight, no matter large or small. I smile every day, thanks to y'all. We gonna eat for real. Ease the mind so we can sleep for real. It took longer than we wish, but the blow, man, I knew we could. Find the best way to live life. It's so right, we jail tight. Ain't no strip stopping our move. We one nation, all under a groove. Send a piece to that cat Nicolay. We gonna meet real soon. I'm so happy. Good loving, good music in my life. It makes me happy. We doing this for y'all. Check it. We doing this for y'all. Come on. Good people, good loving, good music in my life. It makes me happy.
Hey yo, we running it now, so yeah. Come on, yo, we like this, showing this how we doing it. It's going out to my man's Big Poop in it. It's like this, and this is how we ripping it. And shouts out to my man named Infinite. And it's just the way we got to begin with it. It's going out to my man for 10 in it. And it's just the way we got to keep it on. For my man Big Dope and Sean. Let's get it going, y'all. Good loving, good music. Justice League to the world, baby. Yo, we keep it going on. Yo, we keep it going on. People, good love like this. Good music in my life, it makes me happy. Hey, yo, it's like this. From the league to the world. You feel me? Come on. Good love, good music in my life, it makes me happy. So fly with it, taking y'all on the high with it. Feel it, come on. People, good loving, good music in my life, it makes me. You wanna know what I'm feeling for real?
Bring this place.
Greetings, people. We're back. If you've just tuned in, you're kind of late, but you can catch the show. I'll give you links towards at the end. But for now, I'm gonna just say, Raven, do you have any last words?
Again, just thank you all for listening. I really appreciate you tuning in tonight. And if you want to see the Hooray for Hollywood film, we're showing it at Initiatives of Change, which is in London, and we're showing it on 9th of April. It's the event starts at 6:30 and ends 8:30 in the evening. And you can find more information about that on the Initiatives of Change website, or you can email me at admin@outspiral.org.uk. And again, that's Initiatives of Change in London, and on 9th of April.
Okay. I've just got one thing. One of our listeners sent a message in, and she said, "Thank you, Raven, for sharing your heartbreaking story. And so thankful for your strength and courage to put yourself out there, to open the eyes and the hearts of people who need to be made aware. Much love."
Thank you.
And Zara, do you have anything to say?
Thank you very much for inviting me again, and I apologise for coming in late.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry, everyone.
We forgive you.
But yeah, thank you very much again, and I hope I see you guys soon.
Well,
Brother Harry?
yeah.
Oh, I'll let you have the last word. Anyway, I want to share some links. Do you want to say it? Do you want to say something? All right, okay. All right, so if you've just tuned in, you're kind of late, but you can catch the show on our YouTube channels. We do upload them. So our YouTube channel is youtube.com/Innervibe Show. INNERVIBESHOW. Like I said before, we're still in the process of moving previous shows from our old channel to our new channel. So if you want to catch other shows, you can check them on youtube.com/Skidan for real, SKIDAN 4 real, REAL. So yeah, check them out, and also visit our website www.skem.com, SCEMM.com. For Raven's website, check out www.outspiral, OUTSPIRAL.org.uk or hooray4hollywood.co.uk. And that's all I have to say, but for now I'm just going to say ciao, arrivederci, hotep, assalamu alaikum, shalom, namaste.
Okay. We covered them, yeah?
Not all of them, but you know.
Okay, guys. So thank you for listening once again. Thank you for tuning in, and see you on Wednesday where we have Sister Essence from Soul Guidance joining us, talking about Divine Feminine, as I said. And just want to leave you with this quote. It's another African proverb. It goes a little like this. It's quite a popular one. It takes a village to raise a child. So just remember that. Okay. Namaste.
Namaste.
Right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world seems along. Even though I rolled the dice too many times tonight, I was told life, living my right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world sings along. Even though the road is long and narrow, it's a battle, but I was told life is a gamble. Hey yo, money makes the world go round, so put your bets down. Cause if it's my life, I always put my best out. It's all or nothing. Y'all be bluffing cause you stressed out, betting what you ain't got, sweating but it ain't hot. And out here, we bear it all like a tank top. Ask us, we ain't scared at all. We been shanked, shot, locked up, and ain't stopped risking what we live for. What's losing loot when you been poor? And who cares if you spend more? So what if you pitch raw? You just making the ratio smaller for us to get more. Life's a gamble with the odds on us. I'm just praying God evens it up, but he declares war. And sore loser swore blue was the victor. But I'm just like y'all, except I live my life wrong. I smile when they tell me to frown, and looking up when they tell me I'm down, because I'm living my right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world sings along. Even though I rolled the dice too many times tonight, I was told life, living my right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world sings along. Even though the road is long and narrow, it's a battle, but I was told life is a gamble.
Life got me counting my blessings every second I get. Ain't got much, but it's more than what some people die to get. Little money I try to flip, and it goes so quick, and I'm sitting pissed cause I make small change for bigger sense. I take a whole lot of risk, and the older I get, the load still heavy. When trouble try me, I forever stay ready. I keep it steady in the belly of the streets, don't sleep day and night. Life is a gamble and there ain't no lucky streaks involved. It's all small to a big dog with big balls. I pick up the pieces wherever the chips fall. Call me a scabber, just stripping the bone clean. Where I'm from, just to eat, you gotta risk everything. Worth something, pockets hurting, got me searching for a remedy. Enemies after my currency won't be the enemy, no. I know a lot of people that need a little help, but still in the game, play you with the cards dealt.
Right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world sings along. Even though I rolled the dice too many times tonight, I was told life, living my right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world sings along. Even though the road is long and narrow, it's a battle, but I was told life is a gamble.
When I was born, I rolled 7 from the opening scene. Son of John and Irene, it's a beautiful thing. John and Shay's little brother. Every day I discovered the potential of becoming who I'm hoping to be. If I hope and believe, at least that's what I was told. Watch days go by, new year, another roll. From there, man, I don't know, things wasn't the same. Got caught up in the game, it seems my luck changed. See snake eyes watching, side betting. Trying to say I won't make it, but I don't sweat them. Keep it all in perspective with life lessons. Spending days on the past line, trying to stretch them. See some homies crap out early, God bless them. I'll roll 12, I'll see you, no question. Till then, I'm finna rip these joints with a pen, trying to hit my point and be your boy track. Alright.
Is a
Yeah, I'm trying to make moves. I pop one pill, then it's time to take two. I smoke one blunt, then it's time to drink brews. When I'm fighting with myself and my mind is Babe Ruth. Life is a gamble, homie, so play right. One false throw, you rolling a snake guy. In the depths of the grasses where the snakes lie. I'm real to the core, so when a fake lie, I can read that. Kick back with a weed sack, I need that to relax my mind. Let it lean back, recline. Let me read back my lines. Let me retract, rewind. Let me relax your mind like some fine wine. It's the choices that you make that define time. The bright side can never be seen with a blind eye. If I'm walking by myself, I invite God. But I didn't have to use my right arm. My soul's off, lost in the deep end with a heart so cold that it's hard as to see me. So tell Mom Dukes I'll be gone to the evening on a path to my purpose and a road to some meaning. I speak from the soul, if I spoke then I mean it. See God in myself, some folks never meet him. I'm far from the end, but I'm close to my freedom. I'm wishing, hoping, dreaming. Life is a gamble.
Things I live by. Always aim
you know, like, I could